Hit the button.
Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me. I'm Rob. And let's get our final scatter report out of here.
I don't know what happened, by the way. If you noticed, I went the wrong way when I went to point to you. Somehow my shot got mirrored. See how the writing is backwards in the background? I don't know what just happened. Let's see.
Magic.
There we go. I changed it. There we go. Boom. Yeah. It's back. All the wording is the right way now. I don't know what just happened there. Ooh, we're having some technical difficulties here. Also, when I was trying to share the episode here to all the Facebook groups and all we put it on, I was trying to put on that we're scouting that the linebackers and safeties. So, of course, like most people, I just put LBs like most people do. It tried to autocorrect it to labs. We're scouting all the top labs. Chocolate labs, black labs, yellow
big
labs,
ones, little ones, goofy ones too.
lab mixes. I don't know. I'm running out of labs here. Laboratories, Dexter's lab. I don't know.
I'm gonna do it for the mush.
I love that episode. That is the best episode ever. I'm gonna do fromage. People that don't know it, by the way, just search Dexter's Lab omelet du fromage or cheese omelet if you don't know what that means in French. I don't even know if I could spell omelet du fromage.
No, I'm not.
But I can say it like no other because I know that from that episode.
I'm gonna do some fromage.
Omelet du fromage. Anyway, we stop with our French lesson here. So yeah, guys, we are here to talk about the linebackers, not to be confused with the labs today. And we're also going to go over with you guys the top safeties today. So we got two groups to go over because it is our last episode before the draft. So guys, again, I know we've said it before. We'll say it again real quick for y'all. We will not be on Wednesday, barring anything crazy happening, like the Giants trading to number one or something crazy like that, which I don't think is going to happen. We're going to be going ahead and being on all day Thursday for you guys for every single pick. We're going to be on Friday for you guys for every single pick. And then we're also going to be on this Sunday, special episode of this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So not the typical time there, to go ahead and give you guys a recap of all the day 3 pickups we did, as well as also a recap of the draft overall. We will not have an episode that Monday, again, barring anything crazy by the Giants. And then we'll follow it up with that Wednesday, doing our NFC East roundup, talking about the draft classes for the Cowboys, Commanders, and Eagles, like we always do every year. And then draft season is over, guys.
Rumor season's over.
I say that, but watch, we'll do an episode probably like that Thursday instead of like what we would have done.
Probably
Read the draft class. That's what we do. But yeah, let's get into the linebackers here first, guys. We have 20 players to go through here today. As Jay says, yeah, I'm sure me and Deb are going to be thrilled. 20-hour marathon of goofballs. Listen, I'm sure you both will be. In all fairness, you're here, Jay.
Yeah,
you're here. By the way, maybe I can say it now since I know Jay's on. Thank you for the beers, Jay. For those who aren't aware, Jay wisely went to this beautiful website called buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs and went ahead and gave a little thank you to us, and much appreciated, man. Seriously, well, we know we bust your chops and all, but like I said, definitely appreciate you supporting the show, man.
Yeah, muchas gracias.
All right,
like Spanish for cool, man.
I don't think that's what it means at all. I'm not even sure what cool in Spanish is. I know hot. I know cold. I know caliente and frio. I do not know the middle one. What's I don't know.
Medium.
No es caliente or frio?
Mm.
Are you saying it's not hot or cold? That's kind of like saying it's medium temperature.
Regular.
I don't know. If somebody speaks Spanish, feel free to let us know so we stop making it ourselves. We could just Google it, but it's more fun to just try to figure it out ourselves.
Love an air, not knowing anything.
Anyway, back to the linebackers / labs. We got the first guy we're going to go over with you guys. We're doing a little different order in the beginning than I think a lot of people will, because there's a certain player that, quite frankly, is overrated in this draft. And most people have him as their top linebacker. Rob and I, we are not just goofballs by nature, goofballs by trade, but we goofballs as far as draft scouts as well. We tend to go a little different than some of the people do. So our first overall linebacker we have Jihaad Campbell at Alabama.
Alabama.
God.
Sorry. Can't help it.
6'3", 244 pounds, 21 years old, from Ariel, New Jersey. Now, I did look it up because I had never heard of this. It's Erial. That's the Wikipedia said he's from. I had never heard of that before. Apparently, it's part of Gloucester Township, which I don't know why they didn't just say he's from Gloucester Township. Wouldn't that be?
Yeah, pretty much like
Township large enough to have neighborhoods that you just call as if they're towns. Like, isn't it small? You're out there more than I am, Rob. Isn't that like a smaller area, like a little more rural-esque?
It's suburbs of Philadelphia is what it is. It's you're probably like half an hour away from Philly.
I feel like it's like Gloucester and like Sicklerville are the only things I know out in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, you're right by Washington Township.
Is it? Okay, I don't know. See, it shows how often I am out there. Anyway, 6'3", 244 pounds. So decent size there. This past year, 13 games, 117 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, interception, 2 passes deflected, fumble recovery, and 2 forced fumbles for an 81.6 PFF grade overall. He's first team all SEC. He's a playmaker, great size, speedy, processes well, versatile and used on the edge at times. Bad things, he does have a little bit of a tough time getting off some of the bigger blockers if they happen to get to the second level. He's also overly aggressive at times. Now, this guy will probably go back into round 1 or beginning part of round 2. I am telling you right now, he is a first-round talent. Absolutely a first-round talent. He reminds me of, and listen, I'm going to be very clear what I'm about to say before someone calls me out as a moron. Because, again, we're goofballs, not morons. We all remember Ray Lewis and the way he played. Part of what made Ray Lewis so good, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him, I'm just calling it like it is. Part of what made Ray Lewis so good is he had really good big body defensive tackles that took on blockers for him, because Ray Lewis's worst, trait was he had trouble getting off bigger blockers. That's the kind of player that Campbell is. Now, I'm not saying Campbell is Ray Lewis. That's why I want to say, but let me be very clear. He is not Ray Lewis. He has a weaker set of skills than Ray Lewis, if that makes sense. Like a similar player, but obviously down tier from where Ray Lewis was. And I think if you put him in the right system where he's got these big bodies in front of him, this kid will fly over the field and he'll do pretty much anything you need him to do. Go get the quarterback, cover a tight end, hit the running back and go sideline to sideline to get him when he's at a toss play. Like, this is the kind of stuff this kid could do. I'm telling you right now, he's got to have the right blockers in front of him. And he's going to be a hell of a player if he does.
Yeah. Watching a lot of tapes, you're right. He seems like an offset, Lewis, if you will. But
like I said, a weaker version, like a Wish TV version, which in a nice way. I mean, that's out of respect for Lewis, not disrespect for Campbell.
I mean, you're compared to one of the best to play that.
Yeah.
So like that, yeah, you could say that, but like Ray Lewis wasn't Ray Lewis, right away. Years and stats and time, sharpen his craft and his knife. But
macaroni and cheese,
Kraft macaroni and cheese.
The blue box rules.
But yeah, no, he's very similar. play, if you will.
I'm saying
But,
a weaker set, but the similar skills. I think that's what I'm saying. I think he's a do it all if he gets the right guys in front of him.
Correct.
So we'll find out if we're right, I guess. Next up, we got a guy that is the guy that most people think is number one. I don't think he is. But it's Jalon Walker from Georgia. 6'2", 245 pounds, 21 years old from Conway, South Carolina. This past season, 14 games, 60 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. Wow. 2 passes.
It is tax season.
Actually, ironically enough, I just got my tax returns back today. I do owe money. Damn it. By the good time for buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Okay, it's only $500, but still. 2 passes deflected, 2 fumble recoveries, and 73.1 PFF grade. Like I said, look at that. 73.1 PFF grade. Again, PFF is not everything. I'm not trying to say it is. That's pretty low for a guy that most people think is a first half of the first round kind of talent. Even people think he is. Butkus Award winner, first team All-American, second team All-SEC. If that doesn't show you right there how split people are on him, first team All-American, second team All-SEC.
Yeah, diverse, if you will.
Yeah, like people don't know what to think of this kid. He's versatile. He's a great QB spy. Like this is a kid that I'm telling you right now. If you play in a QB heavy, like a running QB heavy system, like let's say you're playing against the Ravens, you're an AFC North team, and you got to face, Lamar Jackson at least twice a year, so to meet him again in the playoffs. Great guy for that kind of player. He's got closing speed. He's got the sideline to sideline. It's just insane how fast he is. He wins pass rush with motor and speed. So he's definitely a high effort guy. He's not bad at coverage except for wide receivers. Here's the biggest thing. He's newer to the position of linebacker. He's still a project. He's still a guy who hasn't maxed out his potential. Still a guy learning the position. And my concern I have is I hate with a passion drafting a guy early based on potential. It's boom or bust. It is. And I want to hit on all my first round talents. Boom or bust to me, I have no problem, guys, with taking boom or bust day 2, day 3. Day 1 is got to be my best player coming out of this draft. I'm not taking boom or bust. Even if the boom is a high boom. Because guess what? If the boom is a high boom, then the bust is a high bust. Or a little bust, whatever you want to say, based on.
Yeah.
You get the analogy. You know what I'm saying, though.
The small little guy. The little guy, don't worry about that little guy.
Like I said, a lot of people think he's top half of the first round. I'd say first round in general. I'm not so sure. It takes the right person to really fall in love with him. But imagine drafting a kid, let's say 13th. I don't know who's drafting 13th. I'm just saying hypothetically, as we said, first half of the draft. I'm hearing a lot of people say, let's say you got the 13th overall pick and you pick this kid. And he's a project. Do you really feel good about using that kind of pick on a project? Like you're going to probably start him off as a pass rushing specialist that you're going to try to teach more of the tools of being an every down linebacker. Because that's what he's probably best at right now. Like you're not going to want him in there for coverage. You're not going to want him in there for, mining gaps in run defenses. No, wrong. It's not that he can't do it. He can. But not to what you're expecting out of a top 15 pick. So, be very clear. It's not a knock on him. It's a knock on the evaluators who are going to put this kid in the position to have to succeed because they picked him so early when he's not ready to do it yet.
Yeah, which is sus, if you will.
That's what happens. It happens all the time. Look at Isaiah Simmons, classic example. The guy was a tweener. He was part safety, part edge rusher, part linebacker. This kid's part edge rusher, pass linebacker. Like he's counted as a linebacker, but let's be honest, he's a hybrid. He's half edge, half linebacker.
And where's he going? What team's he on? Who's
Georgia right now?
No, I was just saying.
A couple days. What?
Talking about Say Simmons.
Oh, I don't even know if he got drafted. Last I heard, he was getting worked out, I think, by the Packers.
Yeah.
So, and he was another guy, top 15 pick. You got to give people a chance to develop when they need a chance to develop. You rush them out there, you're going to kill them.
Kill the man with the ball.
Kill them in the name of. Boo, 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 boo. Anyway, next up, we got a fun one for Rob to say. Rob, go for it, Rob.
Swissinger.
Carson Swessinger. UCLA, 6'2", 225 pounds, 22 years old, from Moore Park, California. This past season, 12 games, 136 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 passes deflected, a forced fumble, and an 80.6 PFF grade. First team All-American, first team All Big Ten this past season here. What I like about him, and it's like part of me makes you wonder what made this change, but he went from a walk-on to a special teamer to now an All-American. Like, that's impressive to go from that. And it's like, I look at a guy sometimes that has all the physical tools. We talked about, what's his name? Was a Porter, the corner out of Ohio State, I think is the guy we were talking about the other day. And he had all the physical tools, and he couldn't quite put it together, and they finally made him a starter the last year. He was a special team before that. Like, okay, you had the physical tools all along. Swessinger was a guy who was like, let's go ahead and just work nonstop, get better at my craft, even though I don't have necessarily all the athletic abilities that some other people have in the field, and eventually get good enough to be a true contributor. And that's what he was. That's the kind of players that I like, because you can't teach that kind of work ethic. You either got it or you don't. He got it. He's great against the run. He's also got a high football IQ. He's a great tackler. He also has that knack for getting into passing lanes. As far as the downfalls, he has trouble getting off blockers at times. He's not great at man coverage, and he's not great as a blitzer. But this guy, I'm telling you right now, you can't teach the kind of work ethic this kind of guy has. When you read up more and more on him, and you look at some of the stuff earlier, even this past season, earlier in the season to later on in the season, you see the growth. That's the kind of kid I'll take a flyer on.
100%. Because he's not afraid to put the work in to figure out what he's got to do different.
Yep. Now, you also have to sit there and say, because he's not an elite athlete, he'll never be an elite player. And that's the honest truth. I don't mean try to be a jerk. Like, that's the honest truth of the matter. So you have to consider that in part of your equation.
Is he going to be the number one at his position?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, he's still.
Oh, he could be a starter. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just
still
saying,
be a damn good starter.
He'll probably never be the Pro Bowler, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I mean, still, if you're above average, have a 10-year career in the NFL, like the guy that that's solid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you will, the pale, what we call it, lunchbox to work day kind of guy, pale box.
Yep. The lunch pail box. But yeah, I think that's exactly what he is. I think he'll be a day 2 pick, and I think someone's going to get a good player out of him. Again, I don't think an elite player, but a good, solid NFL player.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he has the potential to be a backup Pro Bowler.
A backup Pro Bowler. He'll be that guy that gets on the Pro Bowl because 4 other people didn't want to play. And he's just happy to be there.
Hi, Mom. Look where I'm at. I'm in Hawaii.
Hawaii. They haven't done Hawaii in years.
Yeah.
I'm in Orlando.
Yeah.
All righty. Next up, guys. Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina. Now, he's been a few places. He's been around a little bit there. He's kind of explored the college scene over the years. So he played at Georgia Tech from 19 to 22, played in Charlotte in 23, and then this past year, again, over to South Carolina there. He's 6'2", 245 pounds. He's 25 years old, went to high school in Locust Grove, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta there. This past season, 13 games, 82 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 1 pass deflected, and an 82.8 PFF grade. He's got good size. He's good against the run. He beats blockers. He's a good tackler. He looks lost in zone coverage at times, though. He's also not great at change of direction. He takes bad angles at times. This guy is a run-stopping linebacker, is what he is. Can you develop him into a coverage game? That's going to be the question, basically. I think he probably starts off as a guy that you bring on as a backup linebacker slash special teamer. I need to see what you can develop him into. I think like 3rd, 4th round probably is where he's going to end up going. And in a pinch, if you had to start him, as long as you got a different linebacker you can use for pass coverage, you're fine.
I mean, yeah. You're not wrong.
I never am.
But actually, you said last episode that you are wrong from time to time. So
I
don't even say that.
We're all
You're
human.
wrong about being wrong.
We're all human.
Yeah. There we go.
Except me. I am a robot.
Yeah. This is a guy he's more in your face towards the line than he is the guy that's going to run back and play secondary and help out the back there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like you want him in goal line stances, short yardage situations.
You know positional times when to put him in and when to be there. Like, your 3rd and shorts, you're probably going to put him in unless they're really far down the field. Still might throw him Mary, but
yeah, I think it's safe to say you're not having him, go ahead and cover, Travis Kelce anytime soon. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
Let's see. John says, I was thinking, Drew, if you change your name to Drob, it can be called Drob and Rob Show or Droberto and Roberto Show. I don't think that quite works there, John.
Yeah, I was about to say.
John's watching live in the bar, clearly.
John, I will forget, please.
Next up, we got Chris Paul Jr. And I know what you're thinking. No, he doesn't play basketball like his dad. No, it's not even that Chris Paul. It'd be funny. It's the R&B singer. No, it's not one of the. It's not his. It's not from a famous Chris Paul. Anyway,
person man with 2 first names.
He is nicknamed Pooh, though, which I thought was weird. But it's spelled like Winnie the Pooh, not like.
Let's say Pooh Bear.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's where it came from. I didn't look up the history on that. Went to school at Ole Miss this past season. Prior to that, spent 3 years at Arkansas. Also, aka Arkansas, 6'1", 235 pounds, 22 years old. Went to high school in Cordell, Georgia, which is kind of like middle of the state there. Let's see here. This past season, 12 games, 88 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 1 interception, 4 passes deflected, a fumble recovery, 87.2 PFF grade. He was a part of USA Today's first team All-America and second team All-SEC. He's fast, he's agile, he's great in coverage. He does, though, have trouble diagnosing plays and gets out of his gaps at times, especially in run coverage there. So round 3, round 4 kind of guy. I think the big thing is if you have the proper coaching staff, I feel like that's the thing this kid needs. Like, he's got a lot of the things that you cannot teach. He's got the speed stuff. He's got the coverage skills. That's because he's got that shiftiness. He can change direction pretty quickly there. He can backpedal pretty good. He can do all the stuff that as a coverage guy, a lot of times you can do or you can't. But some of the mental aspects, I feel like, is what he's missing. He needs the right guy to go ahead and sit with him and teach him that kind of stuff, like a mentor, whether it's you got somebody maybe who's a veteran linebacker he's lining up next to, who can help him out in the plays and stuff like that. Or you have a guy who's just a coach that's just really good at teaching this kind of stuff. That's what he needs. And put him in the right position. He could be a decent starter in this league potentially. But round 3, round 4 is where I'm thinking.
Yeah, most likely, just because positional in here. I'm going to say like maybe late second round.
Late second round. Ooh. Yeah.
Like,
you never know. Good sneak. Listen, everybody's got their opinions on people in the draft. That's what's crazy, but you never ever know where people are going to go.
Listen, like if you're talking like one of the last picks in the second round, and you
need
yourself a linebacker, and you feel like
you
got yourself a good enough
Pooh Bear.
Yeah, well, you feel like you got yourself a good offensive coach. I'm sorry, a good linebackers coach. Help you out to teach guy and like maybe some veteran players that you can fix some of these things and you can get a steal.
Yeah, I feel like that's what the big thing is that to take certain players, you have to be confident in your coaching staff. And this is just definitely one of those guys.
Yes.
So, all right. Next up, Danny Stutzman. And it is a kind of a fun name. It sounds like something like a drill sergeant would say. Stutzman!
Stutzman! Where are you from?
Anyway, out of Oklahoma, 6'4", 241 pounds, 22 years old, from Windermere, Florida, which is right outside Orlando. Was first team all Big 12 and 23. This past season, 12 games, 109 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 76.6 PFF grade, consensus All-American, and first team All-SEC. He's got great size. He's speedy enough to cover running backs and tight ends pretty well. He's got good football IQ. He's a good run defender. He does go to the wrong gap sometimes. He also has trouble getting off some blocks, and he looks lost in zone coverage at times as well. I struggle with them because there's stuff I like. There's really is stuff I like, and there's stuff I really don't like. And the big one for me is zone coverage there. If you watch him in zone coverage, and let's be honest, a lot of times linebackers are more prone to be in zone than they are man.
Correct.
He looks a little like, when I say lost, he's looking like deer in headlights, like looking all around the field at times, almost like. And I need in the modern NFL a guy who knows what he's doing in those positions, knows where he's going, knows where he's supposed to be looking. So can he get to be developed out of him? Can he be made into more of a modern style, NFL linebacker like that? I don't know. But if I'm taking the risk, I need a linebacker, then I'm not too adverse to it because I see good in him. And at the very worst case, he can start off as a guy in special teams and as a backup that we can try to develop into a starter there. And I think it's going to be around 4. So, I mean, if you're going to talk about an early day 3 pick, that's not the worst thing in the world to have to give him some time to develop. I don't think round 4 comes with that, oh, you need to start and be a star right away kind of guy. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Just work your butt off. Give me something as a backup and on special teams for now, and let's try to develop you.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he looks... You had it perfect, like a deer in headlights, because he's just pretty much waiting for the ball to go, throw it up in the air, see where it's going. He's trying to coverage, and it's not what you need to do. So, like, it's a little bit of a coaching thing.
Yeah, and he doesn't have elite speed. He's not bad speed, not elite speed where he can just make up if he's not reading something correctly and has to shoot across the field. Like that's part of the issue with that.
Yeah. So I mean, once again, it goes back to what we just said before about coaching. Comes from a good coaching staff. So like if you feel like you got a good defense for this, then like maybe take a shot. But like other than that, like who knows? Like depending on like how you feel with him, like because he has like good traits. Like I also wouldn't question him not going in the 4th round, going in the 5th.
I could see anything. I mean, listen, 4th round guys, you never know. Like that's
you're taking the gamble on these guys.
Yeah, like you never know. I just feel like you got a guy who's got potential to develop, and because of that, you're going to find people that are more interested in him because of that. Like I said, I just feel like that's where he's at. Somebody's going to see the potential, and it just takes one person to see it, and then he's going to go, like I said, early enough in the draft where he has a potential. And I kind of like that for a player like that. Like if you draft a player like this, has got some potential, I want someone who sees that potential to get him. Not somebody who says, "Oh, we just need a linebacker." Not like like the Giants did a couple of years ago. We got Eric Gray. We just need a kick returner, Eric Gray.
Yeah,
like. I want somebody who actually knows how to get, somebody that is actually interested in them. So, all right. Next up, We got a guy that I think got a little more hype into this coming this year than he actually developed into there. And that's Barrett Carter out of Clemson. 6'1", 230 pounds, 22 years old from Suwanee. I always mispronounce that one, and I drive through that town every time I go to my lake house. Georgia there. Second team All ACC in 23. Last year, 14 games, 82 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 7 passes deflected, a fumble recovered, and a 68.0 PFF grade. First team All ACC this past year, though. He's fluent in movement. He can cover tight ends and running backs well. He excels in zone. He crashes downhill. He's great at angles. And he's at strength, though. Goes to the wrong gap in the run game sometimes. He's also not extremely aggressive. He's also not a ball hawk. This is the day 3 guy in my eyes. Again, same thing. I hate to kind of beat the dead horse here. I'm going to say this about a lot of the guys here.
Yeah, sadly.
He's a guy that you need to give him a chance to develop. And you have to see a potential role for him because that's what you want him to be eventually. Is you want him to develop into a role player. He's never going to be a star. He's not athletic enough. I just don't think it. He's never going to reach the potential of a Pro Bowler kind of caliber player in this league, or even an above average starter in this league. He's going to be a guy that maybe you might be able to put out there as a starter or not embarrass himself. But in reality, he's probably more of a guy that you want to bring in as like a third down linebacker that can go ahead and cover if you have a guy that's maybe not the best guy in coverage usually. That's out there for the first couple downs. You know, we've talked about before with Micah McFadden and Isaiah Simmons a couple years ago. Isaiah Simmons used to come in third down and cover these linebackers and running backs. That's the kind of role that a guy like Barrett Carter would excel at. But you also have to understand he's also not a ball hawk, so he's not going to get turnovers. You just hope that he can stop a tight end from catching the ball, basically.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like we've talked about this so many times over the show. Of course, it's the show. It's like just because you're not getting the numbers and interceptions, like as long as you stop the player from getting that, the catch, you're doing your job.
Yeah,
so he will have a position. He will have a role.
It's a nice icing to get an interception, but yes, your main goal is not to get the catch.
Yeah. So deflection, or just staying in coverage where your quarterback won't throw a third of the ball over their way.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I said another guy, early day 3, probably like 4th round kind of situation there. And like I said, I don't think he'll ever develop into a legit starter in this league, but I think he'll be developed into a role player. So sometimes it's all you can ask for is a role. All right. Next up. David Walker. Now, you may be looking at this uniform that he has, those of you that are watching video, and go, what the hell kind of uniform is this? It's purple. It's the Bears. It's Central Arkansas. Not a school you hear very often about, guys. Not a school very often at all. I feel like I haven't thought about that school. And I feel like it's been quite a while. Like that's again not a school that really develops a lot of players. The last player I can think of that came out of Central Arkansas. I'm going to give you a hint. Let's see if you can think of it, Rob. I didn't put this in the show notes for the record. Central Arkansas. The best Batman in NBA history.
Oh, you're talking about Michael Jordan?
Did I say Batman? I meant Robin. I effed up my own thing. No, Scottie Pippen, though, from Central Arkansas. That's where he went to school. So David Walker is now the second person I've seen be a legitimate potential professional athlete out of Central Arkansas. And I'm probably missing something. I don't pretend to be the expert on Central Arkansas. It's just not something you hear about very often. It was the last 3 years there at Central Arkansas after moving on from 2 years at Southern Arkansas. Apparently the Northern Arkansas and the Western and Eastern Arkansas teams were not interested in acquiring him. 6'2", 260 pounds, went to high school in Stuttgart, Arkansas. This past season, 12 games, 68 tackles, 10.5 sacks. Now, I should specify, 10.5 sacks according to Wikipedia. And this is where I have to go into weird stat finding things because Central Arkansas is not listed on most stat sites. So you kind of have to go into third-party weird stuff to find stuff. So Wikipedia had him listed at 10.5 sacks. PFF gave him 12 sacks this past season. So either way, he's at least double digits. A 94.6 PFF grade. He's the Buchanan Award winner and first-team FCS All-American. He's quick. He's a good pass rusher. He changes directions well. He's physical. He's aggressive. But he doesn't have NFL length. Again, 6'2", a little bit shorter arms for the average 6'2", and then on top of that, he's also not an explosive athlete. We talked about this before. When you see a guy at a small school, you want absolute dominance. To look at him as an actual player in the NFL, absolute dominance. I think what you have going on here is you have a guy who is flat out been an excellent pass rusher. And people are going, ooh, hold on. We can harness this, maybe change this and figure that out. Because let's be honest, he's not athletic enough to be a linebacker probably in the NFL. We're putting him on the linebacker list because you played linebacker in college. But he's 260 pounds. He's a little heavy for that position. He's also not exactly the most athletic guy in the world. He's probably not going to be a linebacker. I think somebody will try to get him into a pass rusher style position. And I think they're going to try to develop him there. And I think that's what this is all about. You're looking at a guy that somebody's going to say, I can develop this. I can use this trait he has, and I can harness this. My concern is along the way, they're going to remember he played at Central Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean,
not even Arkansas, Central Arkansas.
Team cut as a Razorback.
Yeah. Like that's my biggest issue I have right now. Like, 68 tackles in 12 games. I wouldn't call that dominance.
No. And you're right. Like, he's kind of big for the size. It's not athletic. So like you might
60 pounds.
Yeah. Which is funny because last episode we were talking about how 260s maybe not be big enough.
Well, not last episode. We're talking about corners. There's no 260-pound long corners. But I mean, it's like he's like my weight. And like 5 inches shorter. I am definitely not the NFL physique, for the record. I'm more of the ground round physique.
Ground round. Wow. Nice throwback.
It's back.
Is it really?
Yes, there's the ground round. They just opened one up in Massachusetts. Yes. Road trip.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know where I'm getting my popcorn.
And the baseball helmet Sundays. That's what I used to love as a kid. Oh yes, I used to collect them. Like Pokemon.
Oh yes,
yeah. See, anyway, like I said, I just don't think his traits are going to be that elite enough to transport over to the NFL. And I think someone's going to think they can develop into a pass rusher. He'll get drafted as far as a round 3 guy, but I think he'll be out in the league in a couple of years personally. And I wish all the best for him. I got nothing against him, but that's just my personal opinion.
Picked up late round 3, early round 4. So I was going to get him both flex, but like lose some weight.
I think
do
5,
some run.
6. I think he'll be that late, honestly. But someone's going to think they can change him. It's like a bad relationship. All right, I can change him. All right, next one. We have one that I'm going to say point blank. I messed up the card. I'll have to change that when I do it later. This is what happens when I do things late at night. I misspelled his first name. Womp.
Seymour.
Smile Mondin out of Georgia. And yes, it is spelled Smael, but it is pronounced as Smile. 6'3", 235 pounds, 22 years old, from Dallas, Georgia. No, not Texas, but Georgia. Second team All SEC in 23. In 24, 10 games, 57 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 passes deflected, and a 72.4 PFF grade. He's got good size and length. He's solid in coverage. He's a good tackler. He's got okay speed, but not elite speed. He's also not a great run defender. He lacks strength. He's not a great blitzer, but he did win sometimes in college blitzing, but he won because of motor and not skill. Like, there's no great pass rush moves. It's just relentless, keep on going, and hope we eventually win. He's also had a lot of injuries. Each of the past 3 years, he's been injured.
Yeah,
this is a day 3 pick kind of guy, and this is where we're getting at is the linebacker crew. You got a couple really good ones to start off with. It gets pretty thin pretty quick, guys. This is where we're at. I think like a round 5 kind of pick is where he's going to go. The fact that he's excelled at a bigger school in the SEC is going to help him out. The injuries are going to definitely scare people. That's for sure.
I think he's definitely going to drop around because of injuries.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the fact that he is a pass coverage kind of linebacker. Like, that's what he is. So he's going to be a role player with a huge injury history.
Yeah.
That's going to scare some people.
Yeah, like I said, his biggest thing is that he's from Georgia, but like you're also talking 235 pounds. Like, you're talking about a guy that's you want to move, but he also can't move through people because he doesn't have the strength to move through people. So yeah he's definitely going to be one of those late round picks.
Yeah.
say it nicely.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, though, but listen, again, role player's not a bad thing as long as you can actually fit a role. So
yeah, that's what she said.
She said whole. Next up, we got our last linebacker here today, Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon. 6'2", 245 pounds, 22 years old, went to high school in Kearns, Utah. Second team all Pac-12 there in 23. This past season, 14 games, 54 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 100. 1.5 sacks. So we had 100 sacks.
One season, that's amazing.
1.5 sacks, 2 passes deflected at a 73.4 PFF grade. Fiesta Bowl defensive MVP this year. He's got solid size. He moves well. Got good hand skills and coverage, meaning he knows when to put his hands on a receiver, when to take him off. He knows when to put him up at that point to go for the ball. He's got that kind of stuff. He's physical. What he is, though, slow to diagnose plays. Needs also to add some strength there. He's slow in change of directions, and he looks lost in zone coverage as well. Another guy, a day 3 pick. This is a guy that's, to me, is an absolute project that someone's going to look at what he does well and just say, hey, I think I got the potential here. This is 100% a project. This is a late 6th round kind of guy that you're going to want to put on special teams to start.
Yeah.
And just see what you can develop him into.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, this is where we're at with linebackers, guys. This is the 10th linebacker we have on the list, and we're going into like round 6 kind of guys. This is not a linebacker draft, just not. And you know what? It may happen. This may happen is you get people like this that are a 6th round pick usually that go in the 4th or 5th round because their people get desperate and they know there's not a lot of work that are past this.
Yeah.
So, all righty. Next up, guys, we're gonna pay the bills. Then we're gonna go to the safeties. Pay the bills, pay the bills.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And again, be like Jay. Jay is smart. He went there. He gave us money.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks again, Jay. And thank you again to all our subscribers. We got a few subscribers here tonight as well, so appreciate y'all. Again, guys, you also can support the show by doing super chats on YouTube, stars on Facebook, and of course, also, you can go to our new shop as well if you want to get something out of it besides, us being happy we got some money at that point with some merchandise here. So I'm putting the link, granted, I'm a little biased, but I agree with you there. I'm putting the link there in the chat again for you guys. Like I said, it always pops up on YouTube and Twitch. For some reason, Facebook has the option to add in things, but it just for some reason always kicks the link out on Facebook. So that's the 2 spots on there. Let's get some of the comments here also before we go ahead and get into the safeties here. All right, we already did that one here. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. Jason's showing some respect for the lads. Swiss Army knife, free agent, not a hot market. Talking about Isaiah Simmons, like Eli Manning. We did this. We did that one. Oh yeah, he said yes. He was right. He's at the bar. We were right about John. He's at the bar. I thought he was. And then he says, told me to turn it down. I said, you're an Eagles fan. Shut the F up. I guess he's fighting with somebody at the bar now. He said, did you see they're saying Dable likes Jackson Dart now? Drew, you will lose it. Damn straight I will lose it. Damn straight I will lose it. I'm telling you, Daniel Jones 2.0. That's what he is. John says Dable needs to fix Shador going backwards 10 to 15 yards, getting sacked if we take him. Learn to run more if no one's open, wide open lanes. He gets sacked instead of running. Just run to the left or right.
Yeah, you don't have to drop back.
Yeah. That's all it is. And he says, Pippin. He says, son's on the Mavs. I think I forget. I know he's on a team somewhere. I just don't know which one, to be very frank with you. But yeah, Scottie Pippen Jr. is on a team somewhere. Then he says, that's a different name. I'm Smale, not Smile, not Niall. No, I misspelled it. It's not Snael. That was me misspelling it on the title card there. Smael. So at least it's a little more sensible then. And then, oh, what's this? This is harder. Who put that link there?
Wait a minute.
Who did that? Jay says, how did you guys meet? Well, this is a funny story, okay?
Yeah.
No, it's really not. We just met through mutual friends years and years ago, and then I ended up marrying his cousin. So yeah, now he's kind of stuck.
I'm stuck.
He says Golden Corral. No, it wasn't the Golden Corral. It was not the Golden. Listen, this is our first time I think we didn't make a Golden Corral reference in like 12 episodes. And yet there is Jay. No, we could have made it with a 260-pound linebacker. We resisted the urge. And Jay was like, nope, I will have this discussion. We will talk about this. We tried to get out of it there. That didn't work out very well. All righty. Next up, guys, let's talk about the linebackers here. Another group that, to be very frank with you, there's a few guys up front that are pretty good.
Safeties?
Yeah. Well, I said linebackers again. Safeties. There's a few guys up top here that are pretty good. It goes downhill pretty quickly, though.
It's a repeat of what we just went through.
Yeah, there's a reason why we combine both these categories in an episode for y'all. Definitely is. So let's get to the belle of the ball here, and that's Malachi Starks from Georgia. Georgia's got a lot of players tonight. You notice that? A lot of Georgia.
Well,
two of the 10 linebackers. I'm just going to give you a heads up. There's 2 safeties even. Like that's 40% of our 20% of our show.
Yeah.
I had to do math there. Sorry, it hurt. I went to school in Jersey.
Math is good. You're in Florida. You act like that's better than in Jersey.
Yeah. Listen, we'll never have a device in our hands at all times that is a calculator. And that's what we're always told as kids.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, what now? It's in our pocket at all times.
You need to learn how to do multiplication faster than a calculator because you never have that in your pocket at all times.
Exactly. We don't have just a calculator. We have a scientific calculator in our pocket at all times. This beats anything that Texas Instruments ever made. Anyway, Malachi Starks out of Georgia, 6'1", 205 pounds, 21 years old, from Jefferson, Georgia. He was a 22 freshman All-American, 23 consensus All-American, and first team All-SEC. This past year, he was 14 games, 77 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, interception, 3 passes deflected, and a 78.3 PFF grade. We're going to give you a snap breakdown for these safeties too. So 40 snaps, deep safety, 215 in the box, 271 in the slot. So he definitely moved around pretty well there.
Diverse.
Yeah, that is versatile as hell. First team All-American, first team All-SEC there, guys. Definitely a good mix there, though. Like I said, I love seeing versatility in a guy in a secondary because, listen, sometimes you might need people to move around with injuries. Sometimes your defense just calls for it. Like, it's nice to have it. He's great in coverage. He's got great range. He's a ball hawk. He's great against the run. He's a solid tackler. The biggest issue, point blank, is that his 23 tape looks better than his 24. but they took him out of that deep free safety position much more than they had in prior years. And I think that's what a lot of it was. But I can't guarantee, so I got to put it as a knock. Like his 24 tape, not as good as 23. But that's what I look at and I see is he is best suited for that free safety, that deep safety kind of position. Like I said, a lot of what we talked about was him in coverage. He's great in coverage. That's his strength.
Yeah.
So you put him in the box, you moved him out of his specialty.
Yeah, I was about to say, you go to the videotape,
Yeah.
like you have to put that as a knock because just we watched the tape.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't quite as good, but again, it's still good enough. He's our top safety.
Yeah.
But you gotta include that as part of that, because either something's up or it was the positional part. And like I said, I love the versatility, but I do think they kind of mixed it up a little too much for what he's good at. Because when you put it all together, he played less than half his snaps at that deep safety position, which is where his strength is. So,
yeah.
Like I said, I think someone's going to get him in the first round. I think he's going to be that probably the only day one safety in this draft. There's a couple other guys that could sneak in, but he's probably the only one that is a true number one, round one kind of guy at safety. And I think he's going to be a good, solid player. I do, especially if somebody needs that, again, that deep safety that's good in coverage, that's got that ball hawk mentality at that point there.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get picked up late round, the first round, day one.
Yeah.
And he's going to get utilized. Like, there's going to be people like, oh, he wasn't used right in 24. So this is how we're going to utilize him. And then we're going to try to coach up some other things. Because, like, if you put closer to 60% of snaps in deep, like, it kind of makes sense.
Higher. I would just put him flat as a deep safety, and I'm not moving.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, you can still put him. You can still diversify and put him in the slot, put him in the box. But, like, it takes away from imperfections at those positions if he's in the majority of where he's good at. Because if you're going up against a quarterback he's never faced before, and 70% of the snaps are deep, and you're spot on deep, you're going to, like, kind of know, like, he's been covering well. So when that one box snap comes up, you might get overlooked. So you can hide it.
A little surprise.
Yeah.
All righty. Next up, we got Nick Emanwari coming out of South Carolina. 6'3", 227 pounds, 21 years old, from Greensboro, North Carolina. In 22 is the SEC all-freshman team. This past season, 13 games, 88 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions, 2 of them for touchdowns. Not too shabby. 2 passes deflected, and a 79.6 PFF grade overall. Also this past year, first team All-American, first team All-SEC. Snaps-wise, 193 deep, 414 in the box, 146 in the slot. Now, this is much more the diversity that I like. He was able to play a lot of places, but he was put in his natural position. This is a box safety, point blank. That's where he's best at. He's definitely faster than you expect, but it's more sideline to sideline speed, which again helps at that box safety kind of position there. Tracking down running backs. He is a ball hawk when he does go into the deep coverage there. Like I said, 4 interceptions this past year. He has some coverage issues, which makes him not necessarily the full-on free safety that you wanted to have him at. But as a box safety, he is better than your average, strong safety at being a coverage guy. He's not great at turns or angles, which is where he gets a lot of trouble with coverage there. His technique is not up to what his natural ability is. What I mean by that is I feel like he has room for growth in that. Like sometimes you look at a player and you go, you know what, his hips aren't fluid. And you can just say point blank, this is a lack of natural athletic ability. That's what I mean when I say like not up to natural ability. Like his technique should be smoother for as good an athlete as he is. So that tells me one of 2 things. Either he's having coaching issues or he's having being coached issues, if you get what I mean by that. So there's room for improvement there. I think he's a day 2 pick. I think early day 2. And I think the only reason he's not a late first round pick is because of the fact that he's a box safety. I think if he was a free safety and a guy getting turnovers nonstop and was that kind of guy, you'd be looking at him as an end of the first round kind of guy. But because he's more of a box safety, that's going to hurt him. Though again, I will say 4 interceptions. That's pretty damn good from a box safety.
Yeah. Can't put that past him. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, that, you know, he's got a lot of natural abilities, but technique doesn't live up to it. There's definitely something going on behind the scenes, whether like him not wanting to learn, can't learn, or refusal to learn.
Or not being taught right.
Correct. Yeah. So this is a guy that's probably going to go pretty early, day 2.
Is it a Nick issue? Is it a Gamecock issue?
Yeah. So
no, I not just want to say Gamecock.
You definitely want to see Gamecock. Curve.
What? By the way, you want to play badminton? I have a shuttlecock around here somewhere. We're so immature and proud of it.
That's why we're goofballs.
Damn straight.
Along with their shuttlecocks. But yeah, so there's definitely going to be a team out there with good coaching that's going to be like, I think I see what this guy needs.
Yep.
And we're going to give it to him. And we're going to make him a better player.
X going to give it to him?
X going to give it to you.
Anyway, next up.
By the way, sidetracked, even though it's not the season.
Oh, we never get sidetracked on this show.
It's not the season, but DMX version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Fantastic.
Oh, gosh.
If you've never heard of it.
I think I've heard it a few times, but
yeah.
It's definitely, you're right, not the season, and a very weird thing to bring up randomly, but okay.
Well, X is going to give it to you. I just, there goes Jasper and Raider.
What the hell was? Oh, my God.
I was trying to.
If there's ever a DMX cover band, I think Rob is safely not going to be auditioning for it.
Sadly.
Next up, Xavier Watts, Notre Dame. And I gotta say, I love like the name. It sounds like a football name. It's a high energy name, Watts.
Yeah.
6 foot even, 203 pounds, 23 years old, Minneapolis, Minnesota. In 23, he was the Bronco Nagorski Trophy winner, unanimous All-American. In 24, he was 16 games, 82 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, one of which for a touchdown. And then 10 passes deflected, a fumble recovery, a forced fumble, and an 89.7 PFF grade. Snaps wise, 465 deep coverage, 306 in the box, and 174 in the slot there. Consensus All-American this past year as well. High motor, great technique and coverage, has a nose for the ball. Not the quickest at change of direction and just okay in zone coverage. I think he's a good versatile safety who can play box, can play deep, but he needs someone who's a little more of a specifically man coverage kind of spot there. He's a scheme-specific kind of guy. He does not look good in zone when he's called to do it. And I think that's just part of why they moved him around a little more. They put him in the box more when they need to do a zone coverage kind of situation there. Again, he's got a home. It's just got to be the right home. And that right home is definitely a man coverage heavy scheme. If you were going to plan to run zone coverage on a regular basis, this is the wrong guy for you, point blank. We got to pit the round peg and a round hole. So,
yeah. Listen, I mean, obviously, like you said, he's got. I mean, he will be he's going to get drafted today too. He's definitely got the talent to get to the NFL, but he's got a niche. Like, you know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And you put him in any position, he's not going to be there. So he's going to be one of those positional downs. Go back there.
And that happens all the time. And I feel bad for kids when they get put into like a bad position. They get like drafted and then try to be forced to play a position that's out of position for them or out of their strength because they just don't fit the scheme. You know, you have two options as a GM, as a roster builder. You either build your roster with people that fit your scheme, or have a coach that's willing to change their scheme to fit the roster. That's where it's at. You keep on seeing people trying to fit that square peg in the round hole. It doesn't work. Blank, blank. He's going to be good. He's got to be in the right spot. So, next up, Andrew Makuba out of Texas. Now, played at Clemson from 21 to 23, and then went off to Texas his final season. 6 foot even, 190 pounds, 22 years old. Originally from Harare. I may be mispronouncing that wrong. Harare. In case anybody wants to correct me if I am wrong. Zimbabwe. Went to high school, though, in Austin, Texas. 21, he was the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year, freshman All-American, third-team All-ACC. This past year, 15 games, 69 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 5 interceptions, 7 passes deflected, a forced fumble, and a 90.0 PFF grade. Snaps-wise, 508 deep, 129 in the box, 71 in the slot. So this is purely a free safety, a deep safety kind of guy. Third team All SEC this past year. And very much an up and down career. Like, think about what I said there a minute ago. ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year back in 21. In 24, he's third team All SEC.
Yeah.
Now, also, there's a difference between SEC and ACC, obviously. That's not, ignore that part of it there. But like I said, there's just a difference in the way he was playing. Part of why he went to Texas was to play where he thought he had a better chance to succeed, because his 22-23 tape was not nearly as good as his 21. His 24 still wasn't, but his 24 was better than his 22-23. So there's been a little inconsistency there. He is a playmaker that led the SEC in interceptions this year. Again, he had 5. Instinctive, above average athlete. He's got a lot of experience. Again, he's been starting for 4 years now in this league and in college. He's a little bit smaller, though. Again, 190 pounds. That's definitely a little light, probably 15 pounds lighter than your average safety is going to be. He's also not great at tackling bigger players. I wonder why. Because he's 190 pounds.
He's a wee man.
He's got the body of a corner without having the speed. Yeah, we talked about some guys we went over corner that might have to convert over to safety. This is a guy who probably was that Bill years ago. I'd have to look at his history to find out if it was a corner. He probably was in college or something. I'm sorry, in high school or something.
I was going to say.
But, this is a kid that is basically playing while giving up that kind of poundage there. He does also tend to get overly aggressive at times at plays, which will cause him to make mental errors. And he also has some injury issues at Clemson. Was 100% healthy, though, that 1 year he had there in Texas. So I think he's a round 3 guy. I think he's a guy that, again, if somebody plays him at a deep safety spot, he's going to excel. But his biggest issue I have is his size. You're giving up 15 pounds right off the bat compared to what the average guy has. You're going to have trouble when that 215, 220-pound running back comes barreling at you.
Yeah. So, yeah. You see it, sweeties, go to the Golden Corral, if you will.
I knew it was coming. I
had to put it in there.
I knew it was coming. The Golden Corral comment.
I had to say it.
He's going to have to hang out with Eddie Lacy and Kelvin Benjamin, the local Ponderosa. Changed it up, the restaurant. I'm changing it up here. We're doing the Ponderosa now.
The China buffet.
Ponderosa is still a thing. And it's funny, you can say China buffet because every city or town has a place that's called the China buffet.
Yep.
Of course, in our hometown of Hazlitt, we had the one on 35 next to Toys R Us,
which is now a Harbor Freight.
I say it's a Harbor Freight now, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a Toys R Us for adults.
Yes, exactly. It just changed with the generation at that point.
Yeah.
I went from getting Hot Wheels there to now getting, tools to take off wheels. It's spectacular way. All righty, guys. Next up, we have a guy that I feel like it's another love or hate it kind of guy. I think he's got this place in this league, though. And that's Sebastian Castro out of Iowa. 5'11", 205 pounds, 24 years old, went to high school in Oak Lawn, Illinois, was second team All Big Ten in 23. This past season, he was 12 games, 57 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, interception, pass deflected, 2 forced fumbles, and a 66.2 PFF grade. Snap count wise, 42 deep, 154 in the box, 465 in the slot. This was my issue. To me, he was playing out of place. And I watched the film and I think this is not a guy who should be playing at the slot position. This is a guy who should be a box safety, in my opinion. Now, he's got a little bit shorter than you want for a slot corner, 5'11". But B, his best thing is against the run. You want him where he's a downhill guy just running after the running back. He is spectacular at that. He's got a high motor. He's not an elite athlete. He's got good ball skills overall. His feet also aren't very quick. Now, is that a athletic limitation? Is that a coaching thing? It's something you have to find out. He tends to also be overly aggressive. I think he's going to be a third-round pick, but I'm telling you right now, he should be a box safety, strong safety kind of player there. And I really think that's a situation where the coaching staff didn't do right by him. They put him in the wrong position, and that hurt him. You see his PFF grade, how low it is. Watch specifically him in the box. And I'm telling you, he looks a whole lot better, a whole more natural than he does in the slot position there. So I'm going to blame Iowa for that. And that's why I do think he is that third round talent. The big thing is, will somebody else see that? Or will they see there and see what he did in the slot, look at his tape from last year and go, oh, there's some issues here. And he was playing out of place.
Yeah. And the eye test does it all. Like we talked about BFF before, like it takes so far. And obviously, like when he's playing in a position you shouldn't be playing in or playing at his weakness more than he should, like you're setting someone up for failure, which is probably why he's going to get drafted so late.
Yeah.
Well, that and also he's not at the first, not to play out of this position, but that's besides the point.
So there's got to be the right spot. That's what it is. You can't put a guy in the slot that should be a box safety and expect him to do well. And I'm sure, if anything, I didn't see anything about him complaining about it whatsoever. Now, again, I'm not an Iowa football fan. I'm not going to pretend to know everything that happens in Iowa football. But when I looked him up, I didn't see anything about complaining about that. So the fact that he was playing at a position, you never publicly heard him complain about it, tells me you're probably also a team first guy. So yeah, I'll take a guy like that all the time, put him in the right spot, reap the benefits of that, and call it a day. All righty.
Yeah.
Next up, Kevin Winston Jr. Now, I'm sure you all remember his father, Kevin Winston Sr. He was in the delivery room. I don't know. Might not have been a delivery room.
He had a cigar.
Who knows? Who knows? At a Penn State, 6'2", 208 pounds, 21 years old, for Columbia, Maryland. This past year, just 3 games, 13 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 61.2 PFF grade, snaps wise, 42 deep, 17 in the box, 10 in the slot. Now, you may be sitting there going, hold on, 3 games. I may not be the biggest Penn State fan in the world, but I'm pretty sure they played at least more than 3. Yeah, he had a partially torn ACL, and that ended his season pretty quickly there. He was already battling some injuries to begin with. That's why he wasn't exactly the best, overall here this year. A lot of what you have to do when you're evaluating Kevin Winston here is you got to go back to 23 and look at that tape. And you got to hope that he gets back to being fully healthy and being what he was then, if not a little better. But he's great against the run. He's aggressive, but not overly. He's not the guy that makes those mental errors because of the aggression, which is a nice combo there. Gets off blocks pretty well. He's got good size and length. He's not very good at man coverage. His hips also are not very fluid, which is part of his issue with man coverage there. He has a tendency sometimes to fall for the eyes of the QB. Like if you're that quarterback that really knows how to move their head the right angle at that point to get the defenders to go the wrong direction, that is going to be a fun day for you to face Kevin Winston.
Yeah. Little pump fakey in there, little misleading with the eyes. Fool you.
But I feel like that's a coachable thing. If you have a zone-heavy scheme where you have guys that are a deep safety that's still going to come in occasionally and help support the run, I think Winston's got a spot. The big thing you got to do, though, is you got to look at the medicals just to make sure everything's good to go. Because sometimes partially torn is more difficult to come back from full tears.
Yeah, because you're not going to have surgery most likely on your partial tear because it
exactly.
Exactly.
So he's got to see how things are healing and see how he looks at that point and make a decision from there. Assuming everything is good medically, I say a round 3 grade I have on him as well. But again, I don't have the medical information to know if I can solidify it that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Hopefully he's doing good, and Dookie Howser is helping him out or whatever his doctor's name is, and hopefully it all works out there. All right, 3 more to go. I should know 4 more to go. I can't count.
Yeah.
Latham Ransom, Ohio State, 6'1", 210 pounds, 22 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. I think Tucson's how you pronounce it. Yes, definitely not Tucson. This past year, 15 games, 76 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 interception, 2 pass deflected, a fumble recovery, which was for a touchdown, 3 forced fumbles, and 82.5 on the PFF grade there. On the snaps, 490 deep, 226 in the box, and 82 in the slot there. So versatility, but obviously was primarily a deep safety there. First team All Big Ten. Good size, physical, good burst, high motor. Not a great tackler, though, and does look awkward at times in pass coverage, which that's the issues there. Tackler, let's see, that pretty much every single play with the ball is near you, so that's an issue. Yeah. Pass coverage, you're in the secondary. This is a bit of an issue, and especially because he's a deep safety. So it's like if you need a center fielder, that's where he's going to do best at. But if you need somebody who's a deep safety that still has to come down and cover guys at times, he's probably not your best guy. I think your role for him is going to be being that deep safety on obvious passing downs if you want to bring a third safety in like that. And developing him, letting him play special teams and stuff in the meantime, so we get some snaps and he's not a waste of a paycheck there for you. But overall, I think he's a guy that is going to need some time to develop, and you probably don't want to put him on the field, right off the bat. But you got to kind of see what he is, where he is, and that kind of stuff there. As we lost Rob there momentarily. But again, round 4 is where I think he's going to go there. So next up, Billy Bowman. So not to be confused with Billy Blake's from the Tybo series back in the day there. Oklahoma, 5'10", 200 pounds, 22 years old, went to high school in Denton, Texas there. Listen, it's a guy that point blank is got some issues. There's definitely potential for him, but there's also definitely some issues. And that's why you're not going to be a first round pick there. He had, I put this as a little side note. I wasn't only going to give you guys stats from this year, but interesting little side note. In 23, he had 6 interceptions. 6. 3 of them for touchdowns. That's freaking amazing. That's awesome. This past year, though, 12 games, 54 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 3 pass deflected, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 for a touchdown, 74.9 PFF grade. Snap count wise, 397 deep, 183 in the box, and 156 in the slot there. Listen, obviously, we talked about it in the past 2 seasons. The math is not difficult. 8 interceptions. This is a guy definitely with the ball hawk skills there. He's instinctive. He's got fluid movement. He's physical. He's a great run defender. He's versatile. Does have bad length. And again, he's 5'10". It's a little short for a safety there, so his arms are a little T-Rexy because of that. He's slow out of breaks, and he's got bad top speed. I think if you put him as a deep safety specifically, and again, try to develop him, I think he's got some potential, but there's things you got to fix. You got to be able to fix the issues with, especially the slow out of the breaks. If you're going to put him down towards a true full-time starting safety kind of position, you got to be able to break on the ball better. And that's just not a strength of his. So, you kind of got to figure that part of it out there. As we get Rob back there from this quick break there.
I'm back.
Have a beer with John real quick.
So I guess it's too fast for a beer.
Billy Bowman, The guy who's probably going to be a 4th round pick. It's kind of a range you're going to see with a lot of these guys here. Again, not a great draft for safety. So because of that, people
Yeah,
a little early because typically there's a lot of safeties taken.
there is, and when you talk about safeties too, like you talk about Bowman Jr., he's definitely the Mighty Mouse of the bunch, if you will, but he's not so mighty.
I said T-Rex. When you were gone.
Nice.
He's got little shorter arms because of the fact that he is 5'10", but even for the average 5'10" person, they're shorter than you expect.
Yeah, I mean, how do you expect someone like that's 5'10" to go up against a long body receiver that's 6'4"?
Yeah, not going to go very well, that's for sure. No. But again, you can overcome stuff like that, but you have to kind of accept your limitations you're going to have because of that as well. So, all right. Next up, we got Jonas Sanker out of Virginia. And I still, every time I hear Virginia, I still go to John Carter. That's such an underrated movie there. Sorry if you haven't watched it. You just heard of it as the biggest bomb ever. Watch it. It's actually a good movie. But the one alien going, Virginia. So I always in my head, I have an accent now when I hear people say Virginia. Anyway. 6'1", 210 pounds there. Listen, perfect, ideal size for a safety, that's for sure. This past year, 12 games, 98 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, interception, 4 passes deflected, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 for a touchdown, 72.8 PFF grade. Snaps wise, 282 deep, 358 in the box, 139 in the slot. So good versatility there. He's good in coverage. He's got solid coverage technique there. He's instinctive. His hips aren't exactly fluid. He also tends to get lost in zone coverage. And he reaches when tackling, which causes misses and bad tackling overall. Reaching is not a good thing. Wait till you can wrap, not grab.
He kind of looks like a 2x4 out there.
A 2x4?
It's very because he's not really
Is he flat, easy to nail?
No, he doesn't have the best hip movement. So he's more postured and straight up than he is getting down and moving with the plays. So when he reaches out, he's good at coverage because he can go up, down, left, right, it goes back and forth. He's not really moving, bending around at the hips. And when he goes to tackle, it's more like
if you're like this and talking, I'm thinking of Beaker from the Muppets.
But even when he tackles, right? He overextends himself. He doesn't bend down and tries to grab. He just launches out there. It's usually he's not really bending at the hips or his knees too much.
Yeah, and it's he's a bit positionless to a certain degree because he's really good in coverage, but his hips, like I said, not fluid, get lost in zone. So you got some issues in coverage overall as well. And I feel like he's probably better as a box safety, and he's been used too much in deep safety positions. And it's another guy that's playing a little bit out of place, and I think that's kind of hurting him to a certain degree. I think as an actual box safety in a man coverage heavy scheme, I think he could have some success. I'm not going to say crazy success, but I think, at the very least, the role player, maybe a guy who develops into a starter.
Yeah.
And that's got to be your hope. I mean, that's what you hope for at this point because he's probably a round 4 kind of guy. I think he's going to be a big run on safeties around 4 guys. Either that or some of these guys going to drop and someone's at a good value. But
I wouldn't be surprised if he drops a little bit and someone goes in the 5th round and goes,
oh, stop.
I could teach this guy how to bend.
Shut him down. Open up shop.
Whoa.
Go back to DMX on you.
Rough Riders.
I'm doing that just to think, was it Jay or John who called you
Jay.
Showing your age? Just that's for them.
Just to know, for that Gen X.
Yeah, I'm a Zennial. Zennial's a thing. Look it up. It's kind of like people who are born the very first part of the 80s. We were kind of brought up Gen X style, but we're young enough to still have been young when all the technology came out, middle school, high school age.
I think you just made that up.
No, look it up. Seriously, Zennial. XENIL. IAL. I think it was 79 through 83 or something like that. Let's see. I'm going to look it up for you here real quick.
Well, they keep changing all those like generations because especially because everything's evolved so fast. But like millennials used to be like 90, like 89, and somehow made it down to like 83, like 82.
Age. Okay, so there we go. Zennial age range, which by the way, it's XENNIAL apparently, 77 to 83, and some people are stretched out to 85. But I was 82, so therefore I'm right in that time frame. So don't want to be one of y'all millennials. I heard you were everything wrong with America.
Every generation.
I was about to say that every generation. Back when we were your age.
Yeah, although I have to say the Gen Z, whoever's coming out of college these days, they're like,
Gen Z. That's not. I mean, I think it's Gen E or something like that now, like the me generation or whatever.
Well, the Z is what I was talking about with this.
I think they're already out of college. They're like 30 now.
The workplace. Yeah.
They're
saying, people want to go to work. That's cool.
Anyways, we get off societal talk here.
Yeah.
One more safety here. Malachi Moore. I know
Malachi.
We want more. but it's not the rebel yell. It's the Roll Tide yell out of Alabama here. 6 foot even. 201 pounds here. 24. He has 12 games, 70 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, 8 passes deflected, a fumble recovery, 2 forced fumbles, 84.9 of the PFF grade there. Snaps wise, 350 deep safety, 219 at the box, and 180 at the slot there. He's a ball hawk. He's great in man coverage. He's a good tackler. Here's 100% his problem. Lack of aggression. Like, he's got all the physical tools in the world, guys. He doesn't play physical. He doesn't play aggressive. Now, is that his play style, or is that him making business decisions? That's the question. If you're making business decisions when I'm projecting you as a 4th round draft pick, there's an issue. You made the wrong decision for your business. Because if he was more aggressive, he was more physical, and he was a little more hands-on, he was a little more running downfield, this is a guy who has the abilities to be a day 2 pick. He really does. But I just can't get behind a guy who doesn't show me that aggression. Doesn't show me that love for the game like that. And again, I don't know him personally. For all I know, it's just his personality type. He doesn't have that kind of fire. I want that kind of fire. I will take 9 times out of 10 the guy who's lacking physical tools, but works his tail off and is running around the field like a lunatic, over the guy who's got the physical skills and doesn't have that fire.
Yeah. Tendency is like, there's a difference between like being skillful and talented.
Yep.
Because, talent comes natural, like skill you have to work on and homing in. And sometimes these naturally talented guys, like they're just so good at it growing up that they don't put the work in that needs to be there. And when it comes to elite levels, sometimes those guys have really honed in those skills, really worked on their craft.
Macaroni and cheese.
But
like I said, I don't know him personally, so I don't want to sit there and say he doesn't love football or anything like that. Because people get carried away with some of this stuff sometimes. Sometimes it's maybe what he was asked to do at Alabama, for all I know. But I want to see that aggressiveness. I want to see that fire, because the aggressive guy and the fiery guy is going to be the guy who's going to keep on improving. You know? That's what I want to see. So, but like I said, 4th round pick. Get him right. Get him getting with some fire there. Next thing you know, you might have found a diamond in the rough. Because like I said, honestly, he's got the physical talents to be a day 2 pick all day long. But he's not going to be. He's going to be day 3 pick because of what you got on tape.
Correct.
So. All righty, guys.
Don't lie.
That's going to call it a night for us here. Again, we're not going to be on Wednesday unless anything crazy happens. We will be on all night Thursday for every single pick. We will be on all night Friday for every single pick.
For your view and pleasure.
Oh, trust me. You prepare to be pleasured.
We will be pleasured.
Yes, we're pleasuring everybody watching.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who are maybe listening on audio, feel free to pop into the video. I know it's maybe you may listen to us on the ride, into work or whatever the case may be. Draft is one of the few times that I will always tell people, if you are audio, you really want to come on for the video portion for that. We will still, of course, give you guys audio versions of our reaction to the draft pick as they happen, but that's not nearly as fun as watching the whole thing with us live.
No, not at all.
Yes.
Especially,
especially,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I would say,
bro, come on,
it's a better watching experience, I think, personally. So pop onto YouTube and watch us there for that, and go back to video audio afterwards. I'm not saying don't listen to audio. I just think it's a better watch. Plus, let's be honest, if you're a Giants fan, you probably want more Giants coverage than what the NFL draft coverage is going to give you. So it gives you a chance to get 100%, centered on the Giants. Let's say 100%. We go over every pick. And we are also talking to some people, but having some people on with us as well that are not Giants centric there too. But we're going to have a whole lot more Giants talk than your average, coverage will for this draft here. So, again, guys, we will be on for, like I said, both those 2 days for the picks will be on Sunday afternoon at 1:00 to go ahead and give you guys the reaction to day 3. And also the overall rundown on the draft class as a whole. And then, of course, we'll be back again for you guys that following Wednesday to go ahead and do our NFC East draft roundup there for you guys. So a lot of good stuff planned here as we finalize our draft content here. Again, as always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter/X, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite.
Joey like that page.
My LinkedIn page. And, of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there. Again, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button. Tell a friend about the show as well. And keep in mind, you can do it on the audio. You can do it on the video. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your world behind. So whichever you prefer to do, go for it there. Yeah. And, of course, guys, like I said, we will see you guys Thursday night, I'm sure, for all the draft coverage there. We'll probably have the episode page up tomorrow, so that we can go ahead and have it up and running. You can kind of hit the save button and stuff like that. Do it quicker than usual, so you kind of get notified when we get started there. Guys, appreciate you guys for watching, as always.
Thank you.
As always, Giant fans. Go G-Man! Go G-Man! G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.